Have you ever heard of an event that the more you see it, the more real it feels? The story you're about to hear today isn't just an event. It's a mystery that has left the police, investigators, and even the truth itself speechless. Welcome to the suspense. Here, every word pushes open the door to the truth, and every silence hides unknown terror. And if you truly want to dive deep into these dark mysteries, then subscribe to the channel and stay with us. So, let's begin today's story. 911, what are you reporting? Hello, that phone call lasted exactly 14 seconds before the line went dead. The time was 9:18 in the morning on December 1st, 2011. Someone had dialed 911 from inside a quiet home in Deer Park, Washington, but no words were ever spoken to the dispatcher. What happened in that house during those final moments would expose a level of betrayal so shocking that even seasoned detectives would struggle to comprehend it. Before we dive into this chilling case, a story that will leave you questioning how well you truly know the people closest to you, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support helps share these important narratives and ensures that victims like Shannon Starbucks are remembered. It began as an ordinary school day in Deer Park, a small, predictable town north of Spokane. But for 15-year-old Logan Starbucks, the day started with a creeping sense of unease. At 2:45 p.m., Logan texted her mother, Shannon Denise Starbucks, asking where she was and who would be picking up the children. By 3 p.m., Shannon's familiar car was missing. 20 minutes later, Logan's phone buzzed with a reply, seemingly from her mother. Dad, I have a headache, stay there. Then, another message, send Marsh a note, Dad'll be there in 10 minutes. Marsh was the affectionate nickname for Shannon's 10-year-old son, Marshall. The words were casual, yet no one arrived. Neither Clay nor Shannon appeared. Logan, growing increasingly worried, sent more messages, but they went unanswered. Logan called her 21-year-old brother Austin, who picked up his siblings and dropped them at their father Clay's house, half a mile away. Since their second divorce, the family dynamic was split. The 3 younger children lived with Shannon, while the 2 oldest lived with Clay. Clay handled the morning school drop-off, but that morning, he texted Shannon, car quit, can you take the kids? Shannon had replied, K. That evening, when the kids explained their mother never showed up, Clay checked his phone. It had been off all day. He found a message from Shannon, sent at 3:17 p.m., asking him to pick up the kids because she had just gotten up. Clay wasn't alarmed initially. He expected to see her later at their son Blake's basketball game, but Shannon never arrived. After the game, Clay drove the children to Shannon's home. It was dark, the doors were locked, and there was no sign of her. The next day, December 2nd, the worry intensified. Shannon's mother, Melanie, in Florida, desperately tried to reach her daughter, but every call went to a full voicemail. Melanie contacted law enforcement to request a welfare check. Deputies arrived at Shannon's home around 6:15 p.m., but finding no immediate signs of forced entry or foul play, they left. It wasn't until December 3rd, 2 days after the last known contact, that deputies returned with the landlord's permission to enter. Inside, the living room was tidy, but the master bedroom told a gruesome story. There, on the bed, lay the body of 42-year-old Shannon Starbucks. She was partially unclothed and posed in a humiliating manner, with sex devices deliberately placed on and inside her. The scene left veteran detectives shaken. It was immediately clear this was a crime fueled by rage, obsession, and the intent to degrade the victim. Forensic teams began methodically collecting evidence. Over 100 photographs were taken, and samples were swabbed from various surfaces. DNA would become the linchpin of this investigation. Initially, investigators focused on men Shannon had met online. Hours before her death, Shannon had been texting Tom Walker. He had requested she pose for a provocative photo in a specific way. When detectives found her body, she was positioned almost exactly as described in Tom's text message. Tom had a solid alibi, however, leading investigators to believe the killer had intentionally staged the scene to frame him. Next was John Kenline, a married high school teacher using the alias John Wilson, who was having a secret affair with Shannon. He admitted to seeing her the morning of December 1st. Although his behavior was suspicious, his timeline was corroborated with receipts and witnesses, eventually clearing him. Faced with 2 suspects with solid alibis, detectives found the key breakthrough, the deleted 911 call. At 9:18 a.m. on December 1st, a 14-second call was placed from Shannon's phone to emergency services. On the recording, dispatchers could only hear a faint grunt and rustling before the line went dead. This changed everything. It meant Shannon was attacked shortly after dropping her children off. It meant she was still alive and fighting when she made that desperate call. And most chilling, it meant every text message sent from her phone after 9:18 a.m. was written not by her, but by her killer. Someone who knew the family's routines and nicknames, trying to create the illusion that Shannon was still alive. As detectives dug deeper, one name kept surfacing: Clay Starbucks. Friends and Shannon's personal diary entries confirmed her fear of Clay. She had confided that he wouldn't let go of their broken marriage, and she suspected him of monitoring her. A keystroke logging program was indeed found on her laptop, confirming her fear that someone was tracking her activity. Shannon had told her closest friends, if anything ever happened to her, authorities should look at Clay first. The DNA results provided the hard evidence needed. Samples collected from Shannon's neck, face, and under her fingernails were consistent with the paternal line of Clay Starbucks. His older sons were ruled out by solid alibis, leaving Clay as the only viable match. The DNA under her fingernails was a classic sign of a victim scratching her attacker while fighting for her life. Clay's own alibi collapsed. He claimed his car had broken down, yet his phone record showed his device was powered off from just after 8 a.m. until 3:37 p.m., the precise window during which Shannon was attacked and killed. In February 2012, Clay Starbucks was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. When the trial began in May 2013, the prosecution argued that Clay, driven by resentment over child support, jealousy, and a desire to control Shannon, had planned her death. The 911 call, the planted text messages, and the DNA evidence pointed squarely at him. On May 28, 2013, Clay Starbucks was found guilty of aggravated first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison, without the possibility of parole. The tragedy continued years later. In December 2021, Shannon's son, Logan, who was just 15 when his mother was killed, went missing. Weeks later, his body was found in the Spokane River. His death was ruled a suicide. It was a devastating reminder of the long shadow cast by his mother's murder. The shocking betrayal found in Shannon's case is, tragically, not unique. We now turn to Robert Leming, another disturbing case where a woman's life was taken by the person closest to her. It's very stressful, but I hope they will be found, and I hope we can move forward from this. A face that looks innocent, a body that can't seem to stay still. That was Robert Leming. In May of 2019, his live-in partner, Jasmine Lovett, and her young child, Elias Sanderson, vanished without a trace for weeks. While Robert was given interviews, investigators were working tirelessly to uncover the truth. The story rewinded to 2017 when Jasmine and Roby Anderson welcomed their daughter, Aliyah. Their relationship was turbulent. Roby often came home drunk or high and became aggressive, leading Jasmine to file for an emergency.